Hello, welcome to my channel, Bow and Arrow Tarot. Today we're going to get right into the weekly outlook, general outlook for the sign of Scorpio. All right, let's get right into it, Scorpio. Oh, before I forget, I'm giving away the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit deck and guidebook, the whole box set. It's a beautiful animal spirit deck that I use in most of my readings. So in order to be in the running for that, you just have to be subscribed to my channel and you have to leave me a comment letting me know that you're interested. Now, not everyone publicizes their subscriptions. I can only tell you're subscribed to my channel if you publicize your subscriptions, right? So that means you have to make it, public or whatever. Like you have to use a certain selection on your YouTube page, whatever the case is. I'm not really sure, but either way, it has to be public for me to know that you're actually subscribed to my channel. And somebody pointed that out to me, so I'm just pointing that out to you guys. All right, so you have to be subscribed. Leave me a comment letting me know you're interested in the drawing, and then on March 31st, I will announce the winner, all right, in a video. All right, Scorpio, let's get right into pulling out your angel messages first, and then we'll pull out your animal spirits, and then we will pull out your traditional spread. All right, we have very soon. Clearly decide what you want so that it comes to you now. So things are aligning. Healing family issues. This is something that's come up a lot this week for a lot of signs in my collective, certainly. And we have let your friends help you. So this is a card that has also come up a lot for you, Scorpio. Let your friends help you. It's been coming up for a lot of the weeklies, for your recent weeklies, rather. All right, let's get into your animal spirits now. This is the same deck that I use, the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit deck, and I love this deck. I'm going to pull out your animal spirits and see, what animal spirits may or may not be affecting your week, your interactions, your relationships, your general mood or energy or certain stages in your life. All of these things can be impacted by certain energies that we associate with certain animal spirits. So straight out we have for you, Scorpio, the oyster. Wow. Keeper of secrets. Right? So the oyster is associated with hiding and keeping secrets. The deer, which is associated with earth energy and the great mother. This is, of course, water energy. And we have the bear. More earth energy associated with awakening from a spiritual slumber and beginning to become more spiritually aware. All right, let's get right into it. So the oyster is the keeper of treasures, the keeper of secrets, right? And so the oyster is one of these creatures or one of these spirit animals that talks about keeping things hidden, keeping things secret, right? Keeping other secrets, keeping secrets that really should be told also. So there's the flip side to it. I mean, of course, this can indicate someone who's very sort of loyal and trustworthy in a sense that they can keep your secret. But then also we have the extreme of this animal spirit sometimes when there are too many secrets being kept, right? And it's time to let them out, right? This could also talk about an individual who may have a lot to share with the world. They have a lot of really special qualities, hidden treasures or hidden gems within themselves, but they are just simply too frightened or insecure or worried about either failure or ridicule to let anybody know about them. So this can also indicate someone who's just they just would rather sort of have this very hard exterior that sort of hides a sensitivity inside, a deepness inside the special quality they have. So just as the oyster shell is on the outside and on the inside we have the pearl, this can be someone who really tries to put on this overly I want to say protective energy, perhaps, maybe even tough. They may even come across as being quite tough or resilient or strong, but really it's in an effort to really hide things on the inside that they really don't want the world to see. They may not want the world to see exactly how sensitive they truly are. So in a lot of ways, this is also keeping the best parts of yourself out of the world also. It's a very interesting energy, the oyster. But more than anything, we're definitely talking about keeping things hidden that really should not be. Now, the deer is earth energy, and it is associated with the Great Mother. So here we're talking about someone who may be either adopting children, having children, new children. You may be fostering children, right? In either case, children may be coming into your life in a very strong way, in the sense that you are resonating with the mother. This can also indicate when children or family are not involved. This can also indicate sort of wanting to nurture and protect and I want to say, support a creative idea. So, say for instance, you have the beginnings of an idea or of a creative endeavor that you want to take up, right? Or, and it's something wonderful. You know, it's something going to be really great, but this is just like the beginning of it. This is it in its infancy. The deer also talks about that earthy quality of being able to sort of really work on the idea, protect the idea, nurture the idea, get the right components, the right people, the right environment, etc. that's going to help manifest this idea. This can be when you're in the beginning of writing something like a book, or you're just beginning to get the ideas for something you're wanting to create or invent, right? If you're a filmmaker, you may be getting the ideas for a screenplay, something like that. That's an example of what I'm talking about when you're trying to bring something highly creative into the world. Babies and creative ideas are kind of the same thing, because babies are sort of the ultimate, children are the ultimate manifestation of creativity, right? So here we have, in either case, we have the need or the desire for mother energy coming in, which is, of course, protective, nourishing, right? Nurturing, tender, right? At the same time, being vigilant, right? Being, aware, watching out for dangers at this, while you're also taking care of this very beautiful thing, right? This thing that is very, very vulnerable right now. Now, the bear is also associated with more earth energy. The bear talks about emerging from a slumber, and this is like a spiritual slumber. So this can be an awakening that you're having about the divine, about yourself, about certain ideas that you're beginning to believe in, certain philosophies, all to do with a heightened sense of spirituality, right? You may have had certain experiences recently that really woke you up to that side of your life. Whatever the case is, this is what the bear represents. It represents this kind of beginning stages of seeing and stumbling out of a hibernation, as it were. You may have been quite asleep when it came to things like this, right? Spiritual ideas, esoteric, belief systems or philosophies, or even religious beliefs, right? You may have, that side or that part of your life may have definitely been something that you just really didn't pay much attention to, was quite dormant. Now it feels like it's just waking up. And this is the nature of the bear. When it comes out of hibernation, this feeling of really kind of like, shaking your head clear, the fog is clear. Now you begin to see certain connections. And you begin to see that connection of the divine or your higher self, the spirit self, the spiritual world, whatever you want to call it, and its connection to the earth as well. You begin to see how it all comes together. And so, because of course the bear is an earth creature. So it's a very nice sort of awakening that some of you may be going through. All right, Scorpio, let's pull out your 3 spreads for this week, March 15th to the 22nd. All right, now these forecasts are intended to be separate from each other. They are intended to be different experiences for different Scorpios. So just take what you can from it. If it relates to you, great. If it doesn't apply to your situation at all, then it just isn't for you, all right? We know that these readings can't be for all Scorpios. All right, straight out. Your first outlook for the week has Hermit energy, the moon, and Four of Cups. Oh, okay. So for some of you, Scorpio, you've been quite alone for quite some time. You've been in your hermit mode, right? You've been really sort of just taking care of yourself, taking care of your own sort of I want to say spiritual sort of outlook, right? You've just been very meditative, very introspective, thinking about yourself, thinking about life, thinking about the way you want to be and what you're learning about yourself right now. This is all associated with the Hermit. Some of you have indeed been quite alone, living quite a solitary life. Maybe I feel this is strongly for a Scorpio that's probably been literally hermited away quite a lot, not really spending a lot of social time out or out with people, certainly someone who lives alone. And you are well and truly in this mode coming into the week. However, this week, certain experiences are beginning to come your way that make you feel like you're now being tested, right? The moon is strong, sort of, and this is interesting because the moon is Pisces and the hermit is Virgo. And Virgo and Pisces are actually two signs that go very well together. But in any case, you come across this week, and your experiences this week make you feel like certain ideas that you've come to accept, or maybe even a certain strength that you've come to depend on, or you realized about yourself, or whatever that you're going through, whatever these realizations are here about yourself, you feel like they're suddenly being tested by certain events in your life, right? So for instance, you may have gotten to a very self-confident period where maybe if jealousy were one of the things that you have been dealing with and trying to handle and get under control, and maybe get an emotion that you get past that you no longer are experiencing. This may be something that you're working on during this solitary period, right? This is an example. And then this week you have certain events coming in that really trigger that, and it kind of feels like a test to see have you really gotten your jealousy under control, or have you really sort of dealt with the things that make your jealousy flare up, and etc., etc., right? So it's that kind of feeling coming into you. Now, that was just an example. It could be whatever you personally are going through, Scorpio, but this week just feels like a real testing phase. It just feels like the type of experiences you have coming in, you're not really sure why they're happening. They seem to be quite sort of faded, or sort of like, okay, that's funny that happened. It almost feels like that was meant to happen, right? Sort of a feeling like that can oftentimes come along with the experiences of the moon, because the moon brings with it a lot of sort of psychic and intuitive feelings associated with certain experiences, right? So not only is what you're dealing with right now, not only is it kind of off the wall in the sense that you really don't know why it's happening. You're not getting all the information. This is all the kind of vagueness that's associated with the moon, right? This feeling of not really knowing what's going on, knowing that something is going on, but not really knowing what it is, not really understanding what it is, not having all the information, feeling like you're being tested to a certain degree, right? All of that, sort of real shimmeriness and I want to say lack of clarity is exactly what the moon is all about, And yet there's a feeling of clarity in the same sense that you still know something very important is happening here, right? So this is not just being confused. It's just knowing that there's something going on and you just can't quite figure it out just yet. And you're coming by the end of the week, you are met with a Four of Cups. Now, this is quite interesting because it's like while you're going through this test this week, Scorpio, at some point by the end of the week, somebody comes to you and is offering you a cup of love and you absolutely refuse it. Right? You round off with this week like just saying, So whatever this is, this could be something to do with a certain relationship, right? It could be that some of the baggage or some of the feelings associated with a previous relationship or something that had to do with some sort of breakup, maybe in the relationship, or distancing, whatever the case may be, maybe something to do with this feeling this week. Because in any case, by the end of the week, you're in a situation where you're not willing to accept this person's cup of love. So somebody may have also been trying to come in this week and reconcile with you, and you're just like, you're just not ready for it. You're just not ready to accept them, right? You're just not ready to accept their cup of love, whether it's a cup of love in because they're trying to apologize, or whether they're just reaching out to you. Whatever the case is, you're still just not willing to go for it. And I think that is something to do certainly with what you're going through right now, Scorpio. Certainly a reading for Scorpio. It was healing, I think, from, either a relationship that left them, that they were unhappy about, or whatever the case is. It's just, you're just not ready to allow anybody in just yet. And this week, regardless of what events happen this week, it's interesting that you will end up with that, It may be a test, you may be, again, that may be part of the test, Are you really strong enough? Do you have the right level of stability and independence and self-reliance to say no to a cup of love if it isn't the right cup of love? That could be one of the lessons that you're learning. Five of Swords coming in, Knight of Swords, and the Tower. So some of you are also coming in this week and you're like embroiled in this battle here with this Five of Swords with someone. Someone is just really engaging you. And Five of Swords is really generally the card for failure or defeat, right? The card for defeat, really. And it's defeat that we acquiesce to, because generally we're in a battle with somebody who's just willing to play very unfair. They're willing to do whatever it takes to win, right? This is a real sort of kind of toxic battle. This is somebody who's just constantly pulling you into some nonsense, and you're like, you get sucked into it, and then you realize, why am I even bothering? Why am I lowering myself to this person? It's that kind of feeling, and then at some point you just realize enough is enough, so you give the battle up. But in any case, Scorpio, some of you are coming into this week still focused on this battle that you're having with someone, right? That you feel is quite unfair, but yet it is still pulling you in. During the week, you have certain events that come up and you are met with this sort of Knight of Swords energy. So this is quite interesting. It starts to feel like you start to want to just get rid of some of the things that you are tied to or that are tied to you that are holding you back, right? You're feeling really like you want to make a change. This could be Spirit of the Bear coming in the sense that you may be awakening up to certain kind of... I want to say a certain way of behaving or seeing the world that's really been holding you back. You might have been gotten quite tired of this battle that you're having with someone here, and I think you may be realizing, well, look, certain events coming in this week may get you to realize that, until I cut certain ties, until I change certain aspects of my lifestyle, I may still continue having to deal with this ridiculous battle with this person, right? And I just don't want to be bothered with it anymore. This could be something that's going on with a friend or a family member or even at work, right? It's just like a battle, that you're embroiled in. 5 is the number for power struggle anyway. And so for some of you, it just feels like starting to feel quite exhausting. And it's just like, you know what? This week you just decide, I need to cut whatever ties I need to cut to get out of this. By the end of the week, though, you round off with a Tower moment. So that's quite interesting, because I think that as a result of this energy that you put into kind of cutting the ties, right, to certain people, places, and things, I want to say, that are holding you back, right? You get a real sort of wake-up call in something, right? You get a real awareness or an understanding. You get this whole epiphany that comes in, because that's what a Tower moment is. It's really an epiphany that you have that really shakes up everything you thought you knew or everything you thought you believed in, and you realize that you need to completely adjust your outlook, right? Because the experiences have now taught you that things aren't as the way they seem, right? And so this is generally very, very shocking. Of course, we associate that with a Tower moment event, but nevertheless, it is what it is. It is still a revelation. It's a new understanding that generally comes in, or at least an awakening to a certain kind of truth, right? And it generally feels quite freeing. So this is interesting. Some of you are going to be going through this this coming week. Last spread, 7 of Wands, 10 of Wands, and the Magician. All right, I just have to take a second. All right, so let's get right into this one. 7 of Wands, for some of you are coming into this week with this real feeling of wanting to fight for something, right? 7 of Wands is a feeling of valor and bravery, and just like saying, look, I'm not giving up, you know. This is what I believe in, and I'm going to defend my position. This is a feeling of, you know, always being ready to defend your position, your stance, or your, you know, what you believe in, right? Not being sort of deterred in what you believe in, and just really fighting for your passion, right? Fighting for the things that are important to you. This is a feeling of really being out there on your own, like, you know, you against Goliath or whatever, you know, David and Goliath, or, you know, you know, it just feels like there are people who are testing you. Obstacles keep coming in your way. These wands that you're fighting off, these generally are the type of obstacles that people purposely put in your way. So they're not like stationary obstacles that you're having to get around, like things that are already set in stone that have nothing to do with you or anybody else, that are general obstacles to overcome. But this can oftentimes, Seven of Wands can oftentimes feel like you're battling obstacles that people are purposely putting in your way, or people are trying to stop you from what you want to do. It's much more of a dynamic, engaging sort of fight that you're involved in, right? Or battle to come up with creative solutions over some of these sort of obstacles that are very purposely being put in your path. So it is a card for valor and strength and courage, because that's what's required to get over a situation like this. And this week you come in and you are met with a 10 of Wands. So you really realize it's time to let go of certain baggage that you've been carrying. I think that some of the burdens you've been holding on to, certainly some of the, I want to say, wands that you've been carrying, which are representative of attitudes, modes of behaving, things about yourself that are just, you know, things about your emotional, sort of outlook, right? And stability, and how you sort of, you know, interact with people, the type of, you know, if you have insecurities, or if you don't, or if you lack confidence or whatever, if there's knee-jerk reactions that you have to certain situations because of your experience, all of this kind of thing is what we associate with baggage, right? This is what we call baggage, and we all have baggage, right? But 10 of Wands is about the time in your life, or a period in your life, where you realize this is baggage, and you realize that you know, you just can't get ahead until you let go of it. You know, you just can't let your life and your decisions still be ruled by all of this baggage that you're carrying around. So it's time to let go of it. It's just like become so oppressive. And some of you Scorpios are coming into this week and you're having a real kind of, you know, letting down of all of this that you've been carrying. You round off the week with Magician energy, and it's like immediately, as soon as you let go some of this baggage, it's like you immediately start to really work smarter, right? Not harder, but smarter. It's like that's what they talk about. So you really start to really come into your own, because now you're making clear decisions. You're stronger. You're more confident. This is a real example of what it's like when you let go certain baggage and you begin to try, make a concerted effort, an intentional effort, which is hard, but it can be done, to try to live a life that is free from that baggage, where your decisions are made differently, right? Where your reactions are different, where you choose to have more self-confidence rather than perhaps being defensive or having a lack of self-esteem, which, you know, that's all back to baggage. So you round off with Magician, because things just start to work out for you. You start to realize your talents, and you start to really see them for what they are, instead of feeling insecure, right? Insecurity is part of this baggage. Not believing in yourself is part of that baggage. The anger that comes from all of that is part of these types of baggages, right? But letting go of all of that, you really have this sense of confidence and understanding in your skill set and your abilities and your talents. The Magician is the highest card in the deck for talent, right? And using that talent to manifest your dreams, right? But in order to do that, you have to know what it is, you have to appreciate what it is, and you have to have confidence in it. And this is something that's really bubbling up in you now that you have done some of this hard healing work. Healing family issues is definitely, I want to say, here, you know, as part of the spirit of this reading, and certainly the spirit of the bear, I think, in a lot of ways. Also the spirit of the oyster, in the sense of finally sort of letting some of the things, some of your barriers down and letting the true you out. All right, guys, I'm going to leave it at that, Scorpio. This is your outlook, March 15th to the 22nd. Please don't forget to let me know if you want to be in the drawing for this Wild Unknown Animal Spirit deck. And like I said, to be in the drawing, you have to be subscribed. You have to leave me a comment, let me know that you're interested in the drawing, and then you have to watch my channel March 31st for the winner video, just to see if you are the one who won. All right, guys, but for right now, I'm just going to say please like, subscribe, and share if you enjoyed this video. Check out your other readings in the description, but for right now, Scorpio, have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye now.